Hi, Angel here. Thanks for stopping by. I was going to do a several-part series on gluten-free cereal comparisons, but my camera just died. My backup other camera, which is also a phone camera. Anyway, so I'm going to do this in a couple of little parts. I have been doing gluten-free for several years. I have not been diagnosed with celiac disease, but I have been diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroiditis and rheumatoid arthritis and chronic urticaria when I was younger. And anyway, I've dealt with inflammation, debilitating inflammatory issues for much of my life, ever since before puberty. I'm 47 now, and happy to say that I am more functional than I was at times in my 30s, during my 40s, because I've taken a more active, strict role in making sure I exercise every day and avoid most things that are known to cause inflammation, or at least not go crazy about them. And one of those things is gluten or wheat. Gluten comes from wheat, in case you didn't know. And just as an aside, I am very aware that gluten-free is a fad right now, and that lots of people are eating gluten-free that don't really need to, and hence why mainstream products like Chex has made a gluten-free product. I just found this on the shelf today. I hadn't looked in a while because I generally avoid cereal, and that's the other thing I want to say about eating gluten-free, is that I have found it wonderful for my health, mostly because it helps me avoid things like cereal and bread, things that we tend to overconsume, or I used to and still do tend to overconsume if left unchecked. So I'm not trying to encourage you to just go hog wild and start eating cereal again if you've managed to exclude it from your diet. You or me. I'm not trying to encourage that. But I have a little side project of cereal eating going on, and I had some cereal for the first time in a long time the other day at a friend's, which was actually just really sweet granola oat based with chunks of chocolate in it. So it was really just a candy bar in chunks with some dairy-free milk. And anyway, it has inspired me to explore the options that are out there right now. So I thought I would share that with you. And I bought some coconut milk from Silk. And again, these Silk products I had stopped consuming because they were all too sweet and just an excuse to eat more sugar. But I found that there's lots of unsweetened varieties. This is almond and coconut, which is actually just slightly lower in calories. They both have some gums in them, which I'm a little nervous about because sometimes that does tend to set off an inflammatory response. But lots of things do, and I kind of live with mild inflammatory responses, as do most of you most of the time. So I'm not too worried about that. I got some gluten-free oatmeal, which is really just cheating, and I may just save that for my Airbnb guest. But anyway, I bought it just to check it out because it says gluten-free on it, which is kind of a new thing. You used to have to just kind of guess if it was gluten-free or not. And I'm not sure how accurate that labeling is, but I'm going with it. And then I got some cinnamon Chex because that tasted, that sounded just like complete Cheaterville, something that I've completely quit eating, and I'm just curious to see both how it affects me and how it tastes. And then some vanilla almond bare naked granola, which actually doesn't have gluten-free on the label, but and does say it was processed in a facility that processes wheat and nuts, and so that's probably why. But in the ingredients, there's nothing that sets off my alarm bells, and in fact, it's got no gums or no thickeners in it. So actually, this coconut and almond and this coconut milk are probably more dangerous for an inflammation response than this granola. And the Chex, probably most of them are pretty safe because they're mostly just corn and rice based. Now, are they healthy for you? No, not really. It's mostly like, probably I should just eat ice cream. You know, I did that yesterday, so I won't do it again today. I'm doing cereal. I'm going to dig into some and then report back to you later. And this reminds me, I'm doing a little side project. Part of why I'm eating this cereal. I'm going to make a cereal eating loop with people from all over the world. And I would really love it if you are willing to help me if you would record yourself in any way you want eating some cereal and then send me that footage. Keep it clean. I'm not going to repost or put anything that's pornographic, but beyond that, I'll leave it to your discretion. I think my vision was for just quietness and people just eating cereal. And if you're going to put like some copywritten music in the background or something, I won't be able to use your footage. But if you're willing to let me use your footage in a never-ending, potentially never-ending loop on the internet, on YouTube and Facebook and wherever else, I might make it its own website. I would love, I think over time it would be really fascinating just to see how we have that in common and how many different ways we all eat cereal. So if you're willing to send me some footage, you can PM it to me, you can email it to me, you can send me a message and I'll send you my email if you can't find it there in the description. And if I don't already have a link to a website, which I will be developing in the future. Anyway, please do, if you're willing to, and you give me permission to. I won't be adding anything to anybody's footage other than I might, if I get enough submissions, I might add like where you're from or the date that you submitted it or something like that. But I'm not going to be, changing any of your footage. I might change the length of it, I should say. Like I might chop off an ending or a beginning if over time if I get enough footage and that becomes an issue. But anyway, or if you give me some really great footage, but then there's just a little tiny part at the beginning or end that makes it so I can't use it, I might chop that off. So with that understanding that I might edit it at my discretion, but of course that I'm going to be respectful of you and your anonymity, and you're welcome to say who you are and where you are if you want to on there, but I'm not asking for that information. Mostly it's an exploration of all the different ways, all the different people on the earth eat cereal and how we have that in common. So I would love your footage if you're willing to share it with me. I will be reporting back on how I feel about coconut almond versus pure coconut milk. They call it milk, but yes, non-dairy milk. And how I feel about cinnamon checks versus bare naked vanilla almond granola versus gluten-free Quaker instant oatmeal of the maple and brown sugar variety. So if you've tried any of those, you have any opinions or any other gluten-free cereals that you want to suggest or recommend we avoid, or you have any thoughts about gluten-free, if you have any inflammatory issues and you have something that you've tried that works or doesn't work, I would love to hear your comments. Please share. I'm hoping that we're building a positivity team positivity tribe community, and that takes participation. It takes back and forth. So please share your question and comments, share your cereal eating loop if you're willing, and share your thoughts on gluten-free, on cereals, and on non-dairy milks. Peace.